franktalks.com.
Check out the Frank Talks Relationship column currently running in the Suburban Newspaper online magazine. To read more, please visit www.thesuburban.com.
Relationships, sex, passion with Dr. Laurie Betito. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, a show about love, sex, and relationships. Tonight, our dating dilemmas. Once a month, we focus on dating issues. I know you expect to hear Frank Kermit, who is our usual dating guru here on the program, but he's off on sick leave for a bit, so let's all wish him well together, and we wish him a speedy recovery. In the meantime, though, I'm delighted to have the delightful Natacha Noel. You're a lot prettier than Frank, I have to tell you. Sorry, Frankie. Love you, guy, but I'm just kidding. Natacha is here. She is the founder of Absolute Bachelor Club. So I've asked Natacha here because she's quite knowledgeable in all dating matters. And I figured tonight, you know what, we'll talk about some of the different ways that people can date, different options that are available. I know your company is a matchmaking service, which is something people don't often kind of think about because there's all the online stuff, but it is an option out there. But I do want to talk about every option available to people, because I think especially people who are getting back into the dating world, it's confusing today. Like, how do people do it? How do people do it?
There's so much stuff out there.
Yeah.
And
how do you know what to choose,
And how much to spend and how long to spend on the options.
That's true. Are there even any statistics that we know of how long do people last on a particular site? Because I've known some people who met immediately. I know others who've been on there for years. So it's almost like, how do you know?
The average lifespan on a dating site is about 3 months.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So you sign up and 3 months later you're out already because you've made your match, kind of thing.
Or on a different website.
Okay. Oh, okay. You would leave. Oh, sorry. didn't even think of that. Right. It's not working for me. Gotta go. Okay. And the other thing is there are so many websites to choose from, so many dating sites to choose from, that where do people begin? And this is, I just had somebody in my office tonight saying, I don't know where to start. Just got divorced, woman in her 40s, and thinking, I don't know. I haven't dated in like 25 years. Like, where do I begin? So what do you tell somebody? Where do they begin?
That's a great question, Dr. Laurie. The first thing I would do is start making a list of the different places you could meet. So think public places. If you have a dog, that includes the park, airports, grocery stores, supermarkets, coffee shops, art and wine festivals. So you want to list all the public places where you can go, even the bank, if that's a place you go often.
Right.
Now, that's the chances to meet in those places are slim, because
to meet somebody to date, you mean?
That's correct.
Okay.
But they should still be included. Okay. Then you want to go to, for example, places of interest. So if you like to bike, a bike club, yoga, golf courses, a ski club. If you like to dance,
So you
salsa.
find an activity, you find something that you like to do, and then you engage
you list
in that.
all of those activities you like to see if there might be a club that you can join that will have those interests.
Okay.
Places where you have values aligned with someone else. A church, if you like to do personal growth courses, service clubs, anything that includes your goals, your values. And then also the singles places. So that includes bars, that includes online dating sites, that includes dating applications, matchmaking, singles dinners. And so you make lists of those things too, and then you're going to have all the options available to you, and you start making a plan and choosing, with your budget and how much you want to spend on those different activities and how much time you want to spend. And set a goal for yourself. I believe in SMART goals. Anyone who's done some personal growth will know about SMART goals. They've got to be specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and timely.
You don't want to waste a lot of your energy, your time, and all of that. And the realistic part is also something I think that's really important, is that I find many people are not realistic about getting out there or what they're going to find or how long it might take or the steps they need to take. I mean, what you just described on Natacha is complicated. It sounds like a lot of stuff. It sounds like, oh, gee, I have to do all that work just to date. And I'm thinking, as a married person, thank goodness I don't have to do this anymore, So there are a lot of steps, but there's also services and help to get you through these steps, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Right.
So from the online dating sites that do with algorithms make introductions or make suggestions for you to meet different people, you can go from that to a matchmaker. But then, yes, you're going to have to spend big bucks because they're doing all of that for you.
Right. So all that work they're doing.
That's correct.
That you did. Speaking of algorithms, that's something that I want to talk about because I've heard so many complaints. This is Dating Dilemmas tonight. If you have questions about dating, different dating options, which is really what we're exploring tonight, Natacha Noel is my guest. She's from Absolute Bachelor Club. In fact, the website is absolutebachelorclub.com. If you're particularly interested about matchmaking services, you can ask her about that, but she's knowledgeable in all of these areas. 514-790-0800 if you would like to call in, or you can always text in at 514-800 with your question or comments. So I have this friend, and she's went on this site, and it's also, they match you up, algorithms, whatever. So she writes on her profile, I'm looking for, it was an age, a certain religion, and she gets matched up with exactly the opposite. And she looks at this, why am I on this site? Why am I paying when you keep sending me people that are clearly off of my list of what I want? It makes no sense. So how do these algorithms actually work? I don't get it.
Well, each dating site has their own algorithms, so
Okay.
I couldn't answer the question specifically.
Okay.
But
What do they match you on? Like, what are the general things that people would match you on?
lifestyle, activities, interests, age groups, just exactly what you said, and then
Okay.
religion.
So you would hope they get it right.
You would.
That's what gets so depressing for people, I think, and so discouraging is if they get mismatched all the time, they're like, oh, forget it. Like, I give up on this,
Right. But the positive thing or the good thing about online dating is you can do a lot of the searching yourself. So
Right.
if you do take some time to read profiles, you'll find interesting people. It's just that there's a luck aspect,
Yes.
You
And
meet
the time
time.
aspect. I just have a friend who, newly divorced and newly on the dating site, and spending hours online. Like, it's exciting and it's fun for a time, but it's like it almost becomes an obsession. It can be a little much, no?
It could be a little
Yeah.
discouraging, but the positive is so good that how could you not give it a try if you have the
I
time?
agree with that. I agree that I've met enough people who have met their significant others online to know that it can absolutely work. So
Yes.
no question. If you have questions for Natacha Noel, our dating dilemma expert here on the program tonight, you can give us a call, 514-790-0800, or you can text in your question at 514-800. Natacha Noel, absolutebachelorclub.com. If you're interested in particular about a matchmaking service, you can always visit her website. And I should add that there is a discount for any CJAD listener that mentions passion. So if you do want to sign up, that's up to you, but you can definitely get a discount on that. You're listening to Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Tonight on the program, Dating Dilemmas with special guest Natacha Noel of AbsoluteBachelorClub.com, but she's here to answer all of your dating questions about where to go, how to do it, what's the best way, the costs. I mean, she knows her stuff. So if you have questions, 514-800 to text in. Here's one text regarding online dating. How can you know if your date is looking for something serious or just casual encounters? That's a good question. How do you know? I know that if you go on to ashleymadison.com, they're looking for casual encounters. Right?
Right.
Nothing serious.
Nope.
Okay.
But that is a great question. And here's what I'll answer. When someone is serious about dating, it doesn't matter if they're in front of someone that they will not date seriously. They'll still tell you that they're serious about dating.
Interesting.
If someone is telling you, you know what, I just want to take my time. And I entered the last relationship so quickly, and this time around, I don't want to get into anything serious. I just want to go out. I just want to date. Then you know that they're not looking for something serious right away.
Right this minute.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you've got to be the chooser. Always be the chooser when you are dating. You want to be in control, and you want to be able to walk away if the person is not telling you what you need to hear and what you already set as a boundary.
So you go in it feeling in control of your own dating life, basically.
That is correct. You're not
at the mercy
waiting.
of someone.
That's right. For someone to be into you necessarily. You will flag that if you already did your due diligence, if you've done your homework, if you've created your lists, if you know exactly what it is you're looking for, you're going to be able to ask the right questions, and you'll feel it right away. If you have the feeling you're waiting for something, it's probably not right.
Right. Interesting. But you know, I find that a very interesting question, because I had one friend who met somebody online. He had just he had been widowed, and anyway, he was looking for something fun. Like, he wasn't looking to settle down. Like, it was already, he hadn't dated in a long time. It was too early. So, okay, looking for something fun. Met somebody who he fell in love with and became very serious with. So sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you think, I'll just go in it for fun or what have you. And you realize, oh, I really like this person. You know what? I want more than just fun now.
I will not let that person walk away from my life. Yes.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. So that can happen too. I wouldn't on it, but that does happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Couple more. Being married for almost 7 years and separated since October of last year. Is it too early to try dating again? To me, single life sucks. I am a male, by the way. So October, is there a time frame really about being too early, too soon after a breakup? What would you recommend?
If you're going into your new life, your dating life, and you feel ready, then it is the right time. If you're stuck talking about your ex relationship on your first date, it is probably a sign that it's not the right time. If you feel you constantly need to compare, it is probably not the right time. But if you're going with an open heart and you are ready to bring someone in your life and to share moments with someone, then it absolutely is the right time. It is always the right time.
It's not the right time if you spend your date speaker X.
Yeah, bad.
That's bad. That is not the right time. If you cannot focus on the person in front of you, it is not the right time. That's just from my perspective, anyhow. Absolutely. Okay, so someone wants to know, I'm 40 and I injured my left foot. I now walk with a walker. How do I find someone? I am well off, but I want a female. I don't see the rest of that. I want a female. Okay. So now I guess it's a male. I'm assuming. I don't know. So somebody who's injured, somebody who's handicapped. How difficult is it for somebody with a handicap? And maybe that's a big question. So I'm going to throw that out there, and maybe even our listeners could help with that and how they've dealt with it. But how do you date with a handicap. That's coming up next here on Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Natacha Noel is here for our Dating Dilemmas show. She's from AbsoluteBachelorClub.com if you want to look it up. It is a Montreal-based, although I think you work in other areas.
Toronto as well.
Toronto. It is a matchmaking service that Natacha created a number of years ago. And in fact, she's here to talk about all the different options available to you. However, she is offering a discount. If anybody does sign up who's a CJAD listener, all you have to do is mention Passion and you will get a discount. So one of the texters wrote in about being handicapped and, having a whatever disability it is. I once talked to a blind man, another, there's different types of handicap. So how is dating different for somebody with a handicap?
My first comment is to tell this gentleman to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
No one has what you have. You are special. You've got so many things that are going to show confidence. Attractiveness doesn't just come from...
you are not your handicap, I think is really what
that
you're
is
saying.
right.
You are not your handicap. There are other things about you
Right.
that are lovable, that don't define, this doesn't have to define you.
And you would be so surprised how accepting people are and how many people just do not care. They're looking for a great person inside and out.
Right.
And this little handicap that just happened is really nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme, right? And I do have to say that I have met some people who are severely who are wheelchair bound or what have you, and there are dating sites too for people with handicaps.
Aha, very good.
Right.
So niche
Sites, right.
Niche sites, right. So whether it's STIs.
I was just gonna say that an STI. I know somebody who met their husband on an STI site,
That is
and they both had
wonderful.
herpes, and there they go. They got married.
Absolutely.
With, both knowing that. And that was, I thought, wow, that was brilliant, actually, to have that site. And there's a lot of people on that site. So there you have it. Natacha Noel is my guest tonight on Dating Dilemmas. If you have a question then about dating, then please forward it right here, 514-800 to text it in, or you can always call us and talk to us directly at 514-790-0800. You're listening to Dating Dilemmas tonight on Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Let's talk about dating tonight as well. Natacha Noel is here from AbsoluteBachelorClub.com, a dating site. A discount for CJAD listeners, by the way. Just mention Passion if you are interested in going that route. You don't have to. There's many other options, which is what we are discussing tonight. So if there's anything you want to add to this, or you have questions about where to go, how you met your significant other, did you have success online? Was it a meetup group? Was it speed dating? We can go through all that, although we never have enough time. And Natasha, every time you're on, we start and then was like, oh, we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that. So we clearly need a monthly show to discuss all of these different options. Okay, so here's somebody who says, a good place to meet singles is to take dancing lessons such as salsa. I don't know what bachata or kizomba is, but anyway. And they go on to say, go because you love dancing and just go with the flow, but don't act desperate because it's a turnoff. Ooh. So this whole thing about acting desperate, I guess, of course, that's going to be a turnoff. But here's the thing. There used to be a time when people thought only desperate people go to matchmakers. Only desperate people go online. We know that's not the case anymore, is it?
At all. It's quite the opposite.
Okay, good. Talk to us.
Confident people who are action-minded are going to take action to get to their goals.
Mm-hmm.
And matchmaking is definitely a solution, because what we do as matchmakers is we get you in front of the kind of person, the type of person you would like to date very quickly. So instead of dating the wrong person online and taking 3 to 6 months to find out that they don't manage their money the way you would prefer they would, we screen, we ask the questions, we know who's neat, we know who's activity oriented, we know who has a really high libido. We know who's very affectionate.
You know
we
who's
know
psycho.
Who's psycho. We totally do. We know
Can you
who's got
guarantee
daddy
that,
issues.
Natasha?
I agree. You know, and
But you
so-
do a screening. Like there is
That's
that you
it.
do. What kind of screening goes into with Matchmaker, like with your kind of service? I'm curious. I don't know anything about it, to tell you the truth. I want to hear.
The questions go from your parents' characters, what they did for a living, to past relationships, patterns that you've had.
Wow. That's so you do like a psychological, psychosocial evaluation.
We are not psychologists.
No, I know that.
But we do go through. People always tell me, man, this feels like when I go to the psychologist. And
Okay, we're checking that box. Okay, good.
so we do, and then we screen for, drugs, alcohol.
Of course, you can only screen as much as they tell you.
Yes.
Right.
But people are
You're not-
generally very honest. Once they make the commitment to matchmaking, once they make an investment,
Right.
they
'Cause
don't want to waste
it
their
is a-
money.
Right, exactly. It's a monetary investment at this point.
Absolutely. I don't want
Right.
to sound elitist, but it is. And what happens is if you're going to spend your money and not tell me the information that I need to make a great match for you, you're going to waste your time, your money, and my time.
You know what that reminds me of? Like somebody who goes for help to the therapist but doesn't tell them the truth. Okay, well, how can I help you if I'm not getting the story, right? If you're only giving me
Half.
one tiny little part, you can't expect to truly grow
And succeed.
and succeed. Yeah, it's the same thing. So people who make that investment tend to be more honest and with what they want and who they are.
Yes, and they generally have great jobs. They're very steady. They've got a home. They've got friends and family. They've got passions, interests. They've got exciting lives. And then all that's missing is a special person to share their life with. And then they come to matchmakers so that they can speed up, the quality of matches.
So there is a different type of clientele that will go to a matchmaker versus one that will try online dating.
Definitely the crowd that comes to matchmakers are the very stable individuals. And again,
Well, how do you define stable? Like, why would you say they're more stable? Stable in life or stable psychologically?
they're stable. So they're stable psychologically, but they're
Okay.
stable financially, and they're stable with their jobs, and they've got a life plan. They know where it is they'd like
Okay.
to go. And
So they're usually people who are more determined and clear about what they're looking for.
I love it. They've got all the clarity that they need. And if
Okay.
they don't, we coach them. We've got dating coaches. So Frank works with me at Absolute
Okay.
Bachelor Club, and we will get that clarity for them so that they can make the right choices
Okay.
in partner choosing.
So you're able to see whether somebody is not clear or not. And if they're not, you say, okay, it looks like you need a bit of coaching here to make sure you are clear before we set you out there.
Yes, because they can give me mixed messages, and they can be very sometimes tell me one thing and then really ask for someone else, and it can become it's a large puzzle, and then I'll put the pieces back together, and then we will decide if this is good for the client and if they want to go that route and finding someone special. And if they feel they still need this person but really they're saying something completely different, then we have to decide together if there's room to work and to find that person.
How do you measure, Natasha, of Absolute Bachelor Club, your success? How do you measure it?
So we live in Quebec, right?
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people, many people do not wish to get married. So unfortunately
true,
for
huh?
me, yes, in Quebec, I can't use marriage as my success measure.
Okay.
So I do have to look at, relationships being created and people moving in together and having children. Most people come to my office when they're under 40. They're looking for a partner and they want to build a family. And then the 40 plus, I've got clients all the way up to 70 plus. They're looking for a partner. They may be divorced, looking for someone special to share their life with. And they're not necessarily looking for marriage. So we're looking at relationships. If someone is with, if I've created a couple and they've been together for 6 months plus, then we definitely have success.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good match, 6 months plus. That's good. And how often does that happen?
Oh, quite often. I've got some matches, when many introductions have taken 1 or 2 introductions that they've met someone, been in a relationship for over 6 months. And then sometimes it takes 8, 10, 12 introductions before we get to the success. So it really depends on the information that was shared.
That's true.
And on everyone, on the single person's ability to express their needs and
right. Yeah, but it might be 12 introductions versus 50 online, let's just say.
I have been told that it takes 60 online meetings to get to the quality of one match from my company.
Yikes. Okay, well, that's those are figures that works.
Straight from my client's mouth.
That's right. Well, there's a reason why you pay for it.
Right.
That's the difference. Like, you could either do the legwork yourself or you can hire someone to do the legwork for you. Those are the two different things. You can do your renos yourself or you can hire a contractor. That's how I look at it. Or something like that. No? Right?
You totally can.
Okay, that's it. Your choice, by the way. Your choice. We are not promoting one over another. There are many options for everybody. There are options for dating. We don't want people to think they don't have options, because there are options. We just have to know what they are. So coming up, we'll talk maybe about meetup groups, and maybe we'll talk even about speed dating. How common is that still today? At one time, that was, I remember when it first came out, this whole speed dating thing. It was very popular. I'm not just sure how popular it is now, but we'll find that out with Natacha Noel here for our Dating Dilemmas edition of Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
On the program tonight, Natacha Noel of Absolute Bachelor Club talking about dating. It is our Dating Dilemmas feature on the program tonight. We have that once a month. And usually Frank Kermit joins us here as our resident dating coach, but he's off on sick leave. But he will be back soon. In the meantime, Natacha is here. Natacha, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, speed dating. How popular is that today, speed dating? Is it as popular as ever or not?
I think it's losing in popularity a little bit, but here's the great thing about speed dating is that in a relatively short time, you'll have met several people. It's no better or no worse than online dating.
Okay.
And you don't have to pretend you like the person, because in 3 or 5 minutes they'll be out of your way.
Out of your way, out of your life, if you really want them to, yeah.
And there's less stress than going out on a blind date and being in front of someone for maybe 2 hours at dinner.
Right.
Right? So that's absolutely really good about speed dating.
The only thing, though, is that you would hope that the person organizing the event is doing the matching ahead of time.
If they have enough people,
right?
They absolutely will.
Right.
And if they have not too many, they'll invite everyone they have, and that's when it becomes, not so fun, because you feel like they didn't screen.
Exactly. So it still requires a level of screening. In terms of safety, let's talk about that, because I get asked that as well from people who are just newly on the dating scene, who are starting online dating, and many of them have fears like, oh, I'm going to meet a crazy person, or everything they say online is a lie, or I'm scared to meet a stranger. What are some of your safety tips that you want to give people?
Okay, so always meet in a public place. Go to and from the venue on your own means. So if they suggest, hey, I'll pick you up, what? No.
Okay. Have money for a cab if need be.
Don't take too much alcohol so that you can Be conscious of
have your wits about you. Yes.
Yes. Look at your purse. Make sure you know where your belongings are. Do your due diligence. So you don't want to become a private investigator. You don't want to ask for friendships on Facebook ahead of time before you even know the person.
Okay.
But if you can see what they do, if they did give you their full name, then you can go on LinkedIn and you can do some
Google
research.
them, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, you should do the research if you can.
Yes.
I agree with that.
You just don't want to be intrusive in your research, right?
Well, you don't want to hire a PI.
No,
necessarily.
And trust your instincts. If you feel you need to walk away, then walk away.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stay.
I have a friend who actually texted me. She says, Laurie, I'm at this location. This is the name of the person, just in case,
Yes,
So
always.
she would, and then I'll call you again at this time. So if you don't hear from me, you come looking for me.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing. Okay.
Because there are, horror stories. Let's not...
Right. There's not too, it's not common, but there are, but it is possible.
And some of the stories they're not kidnapping. Usually what they are is, this person hid everything from me. They never told me, about their past. And
Right.
this person was married and I was looking for someone single. They
Right.
didn't tell me.
They're no axe murderers. It's not about, I'm meeting an axe murderer who's going to take me in the alley and chop me up in bits.
Mm-mm.
Right. But this is what I'm hearing. It's like, I don't want to, what if? It's like, what if? That's not going to happen. The probability of that happening is not common. Like, it's not, but people have to get past those fears, right?
They do, because you said it right. It's a fear. There's no danger, really.
Right. Just as long as you're safe. And I like those tips that you gave out because those are really important. You still have to play it safe and you still have to, and I would also add things like create a different email account so that it's not your usual email account that contains your full name and what have you. Don't give out your phone number right away until you've met them,
And your place of work.
Your place of work, your residence. And remember that people can look up your phone number by reverse lookup. So if you give them your phone number, that's what they'll get.
Yes.
So, these are things that until you know the person, you might want to just go slow, in terms of sharing who you are. Might want to just give a first name, don't give any last names right away.
You can block your phone number when you call the first time.
That's true.
There's a lot of things you can do to keep your privacy.
Right. And someone else texted in, if you have the number, leave the number with your friends. Yes, if you have the person's number, exactly. Leave name, number. And that's what my girlfriend did. She left me the phone number and the guy's name. And, and then she felt kind of safer.
That's
going
right.
out there. So it makes a lot of sense. If you have other tips, our listener who wants to share, then please do at 514-800. We still have a bit of time. And let me remind you that anybody who is interested could contact, if you're interested in matchmaking services, which is very different from online dating in many ways and similar in other ways, you can contact Natacha Noel at absolutebachelorclub.com. Just remember that if you do choose to sign up, mention Passion and you'll get a discount right there. So you're listening to Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Tonight on the program, Dating Dilemmas, last few minutes here with Natacha Noel of Absolute Bachelor Club, which can be found online at absolutebachelorclub.com. I had a question for you, which I found very interesting. A lot of dating sites or even online dating or what have you, they don't make the women pay, but the men have to pay a membership fee. Is that common for all different sites?
Not all different sites operate that way. Just like you have ladies' nights in bars, the men go where the women are. So if they know that the women are going to be somewhere, you can be sure they're going to pay for the entrance. They're going to spend for everything, drinks, their outfits. They're interested in being where the beautiful ladies are.
So it's free to get the numbers in so you get the men in. That's really what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay. How does it work in your
So
for
I offer
matchmaking?
both. With me, you can be a member, which is a person who can be matched with a paying client, or you can be a client. So whether you are a woman or a man, you can be a paying client, and women can be either paying clients or members who get matched with paying clients. So I have over 1,500 women that can be matched with the paying clients. But now when you're not a paying person, you are, competing with a lot of women. However, you have the opportunity to meet.
So you have different levels is what
Yes.
I'm understanding. Okay, so obviously there's a lot to know about this. So it's on your website. You have a lot of that information on your website.
I do.
Good. So there you go. You can always check it out. AbsoluteBachelorClub.com. Natasha, it's been great. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us and for giving our listeners a discount if they choose to go your route.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laurie.
Thank you again, Natasha Noel of Absolute Bachelor Club. Thanks for your texts and your questions tonight about dating. Our dating dilemma segment will be back again in June. Every month we do this, so thank you for listening, and we'll do a big shout out to our very own Frank Kermit. Hope you get better soon, Frankie.
Get better.
Yeah, and then you can come back. Thank you to Dave Simon in Master Control. If you need to find me, passion@CJAD.com. You can send me your questions about sex, relationships, and please tune in on Tuesdays where I answer those questions on our Trouble Tuesday show as well. So that's passion@CJAD.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and my website at drlaurie.com. News coming up next, followed by the CJAD Comedy Show. Have a wonderful rest of the night, and please remember life is short, so do take the time to smell the flowers and indulge your passions.
Listen to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD and CJAD.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
Remember to sign up for the Coping with Loss newsletter and get weekly supporting messages to help you manage your bereavement, grief, and mourning. You are not alone. Sign up at franktalks.com now.
Need help with love, sex, dating, or relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com.